I think it's just a trend that's going to keep exploding. Don't give away 10% for an email. Instead, buy a future purchase. That's how I think about it. So you're buying the second, and we all know, like, if you can get someone to buy from you 3 times, if you can get someone to buy from you for 3 times, they're basically a sold customer for life. That's the way I like to think about it. Think about sale 2, think about sale 3, and that's how you explode your brand.
Hey lovely, Lisa here, and before we dive into today's episode of She Talks, I have got a little favour to ask you. If this podcast has ever made you feel a little bit more confident, a little bit more inspired, or a little less alone in this wild ride of running your own business, then I would love you to leave us a review on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you're listening. I know it sounds like a small thing, but it really helps get She Talks into the ears of more incredible women just like you, and it helps us keep bringing you the good stuff. And if there's an episode that made you go, oh my God, every woman in business needs to hear this, please share it with someone you love. Text it to your business bestie, add it to your stories, or drop the link in a group chat. However you do it, we are so grateful. All right, that's it from me. Let's jump in. In this episode of She Talks, I chat with Ty Chapman, founder of MonsterCart and the first man ever to join me on the potty. Now, Ty's not your typical tech bro. He's a Sunshine Coast local with a big brain for e-commerce and a bold vision for the future of marketing. And let's just say I knew from our very first Zoom banter, this one was going to be a ripper. On today's episode, we dive into why paid ads are dying a slow death, the rise of earned media, and what the AI ad shift means for small brands. Plus, Ty spills his biggest CRO secrets, bundling hacks that explode AOV, and drops the mic on his new platform set to replace Facebook groups for brands. If you're scaling an e-com brand and want to stay ahead of the curve without selling your soul to Meta, then this episode is bursting with tactical gold. Welcome to the future of smart, scrappy, high-converting e-commerce. So, Ty, firstly, welcome to the podcast. And can I just say that you are the first male that I have ever invited to the She Talks podcast in 4 years. Are you feeling special?
Oh, I am very special. I feel special, I mean. I'm honored. And you're breaking my rules too, because I never do video calls. So we're all breaking rules today.
There you go. That's a good sign of a new friendship. I love that. And so to my beautiful listeners today, I probably need to give you some context as to why I brought Ty on the potty. And we just met recently. And you know, when you just meet someone and you're like, I really like you. And we've chatted a few times on video calls. As Ty said, he broke his rules in chatting to me on video calls. And I discovered that this epic app that I recommend highly across all our programs, the founder isn't in Silicon Valley like I assumed, but is actually a local Southeast Queensland boy. And so we've been bantering and having great chats. And I wanted to banter on the podcast so you guys can hear our banters. I reckon that sounds like a pretty good idea. What do you reckon, Ty?
Yeah, sounds fun. I love getting all nerdy on e-commerce, marketing, strategy, whatever it is. It's fun.
Sweet. So I want to just start. The reason I thought it would be great to have a banter on here, apart from a stack of really cool things we're going to talk about today, but one of them was you dropped a little pop smoke the other day, and I think it was even a Gary Vee thing you shared with me around how we're moving away from paid media and over to earned media. And I've been the cogs in the wheels in my brain have been playing with this. And you know, when you get a dodgy tooth and you touch it with your tongue from every side for a while, this is like a little thing I've been sitting on for the last week since you shared it with me. And I want to start here today. Let's talk about this. You tell it your way.
Yeah, so I come from Facebook ad world, okay, which I guess a lot of listeners will be familiar with. So Facebook ad world, my background is spending millions and millions on Facebook ads for clients. And honestly, it did really well, and it still does do well for many brands. However, there's been a shift recently. I've just seen it, and I'm lucky because I get to work with thousands. I think we're on 7,000 plus merchants now across our apps, and I get to see any differences and shifts between the different brands and how they're doing their strategies, how they're getting their traffic and everything like that. And what's kind of started to happen is there's been a lot of investment into earned media. And when I say that, it's like organic world, basically. It's just a fancy way of saying organic. And thinking about it differently. So earned media is now it's kind of getting closer to top of funnel. Whereas before it was like an afterthought. And basically what that is you're earning the trust of your customer before you go and target them through Facebook ads and things like that.
This is a massive shift because I know a lot of our listeners who have been doing this ecom thing for a while will be really used to your top of funnel looks like paid ad acquisition. That's what all ecom brands have done for a really long time. And I have also seen this same trend emerge from the States where so many brands these days are talking about we need to be all over organic, UGC, EGC, founder-led content, and we need to build a relationship across multiple channels with our potential customers before we serve them with paid ads. And then that reduces the reliance on the paid ads. But let's be honest, it's much harder to do right.
It can be. It just takes a team shakeup as well. If you can put together, I guess, somewhat of like a yeah, just like an organic entertainment team within your business. Hopefully, it can come from the founder. That's when it becomes the easiest, when the founder has the ability to be in front of a camera, which I just encourage. Pretty much anyone can be in front of a camera. But yeah, like if you can start making that shift now, I think within 6 to 12 months, it's going to be the future of all of e-commerce. We're going to go in that direction. And I will give you a heads up. So I saw this shift when TikTok started, right? TikTok just pushed content that you actually wanted to watch. Whereas Facebook didn't. It had like this alternate hidden agenda to try and make money out of you. And because it was like, it was the only one, it was Facebook and Instagram. They had the monopoly, and obviously TikTok came along. And that shift in TikTok decimated Facebook. And it's kind of crossed over to Facebook now. And now you can go viral on Facebook and Instagram, which is crazy. Like that was never a thing. Viral because your content was good, not because you're just famous and you have 1 million followers. So it allows little brands like who have 1,000 followers, if they create good content, they can get as much viewership as the teams that are spending millions on Facebook ads for free, which is crazy.
And even we've been playing with trial reels lately, which is, I suppose, another way that Instagram's playing with ideas. And for listeners, if you don't know what trial reels are, we have two in-house content producers here at SheCom. One for my personal Lisa Jones founder brand, because I have to do this shit. And I feel like some kind of random Cancun entertainer on a ship at the moment doing the most ridiculous TikToks. But you're right. It's edutainment, people, is the new term. Education and entertainment in one. But trial reels mean that you can push reels that your team have created that you don't want to push to your normal audience to test it on unknowns. And it's kind of like paying for boosted posts, but you're not actually paying for the posts. They're free. So it's super clever. And I think this is Instagram playing with some ways of trying to compete with TikTok. But let's come back to this TikTok thing for a sec, because I'm with you completely on this. And I think I want to take it to another layer, which is that just recently TikTok have announced. Now, before I say what they've announced, I need to be clear that we don't here at SheCom necessarily promote TikTok paid ads. We think that you can use organic TikTok and have just as great a success for sales as a brand. You don't need to invest in paid ads at TikTok. However, the announcement was that TikTok have disintegrated the majority of their styles of paid advertising and have left it with one. And that one paid advertising style is AI generated ads for your brand. And I think this is a pop smoke, because I'm like, this is the future of paid advertising. What is happening here, and how is Meta going to follow this with Meta advertising? They were already talking about AI created ads. We're going to take the pressure off brands. Well, TikTok have already done it. And I think this is so interesting. Ty, what do you think?
That's interesting. I didn't even know that.
I think it's
I'm
the
going to be
future.
honest. Yeah. So hang on. So let me get this straight. So they're creating the ads, or they're running the ads for you?
They're
Or they're doing
creating and
both?
running the ads. They've turned off the
Wow.
majority
We
of.
are bantering here because I'm learning as well. I'm always learning. Yeah,
This is
cool.
the real podcast. As I promised
Yeah.
you listeners at the start of this potty, this is simply Ty and Lisa having a geeky chat, and you guys get the benefit of being the flies on the wall. But it's true. And I personally, when I heard that like a couple of weeks ago, I had just a holy shit moment, because honestly, Tyler, and I want to hear your take on this too. I am concerned about brands that rely on Meta as a one true source of new top of funnel, because I really feel like Meta's leaning into this place where they're going to create ads. And I wonder and I worry for the smaller brands. Like, I know that Meta, for example, it can learn with a bigger spend. But when you don't have a big spend, how is it learning to be able to continue to improve and optimize your AI built ads? That worries me, that it might leave the little guys behind.
The alarm bells and the direction/strategist inside of me goes, hey, this makes it even more important for the rawness and realness for brands to shine through. I think the future of commerce, because I'm terrified of the AI world, but I'm also extremely excited. I'm one of those like, I think everything's going to blow up, but I'm also like, the world's going to be epic. Okay. And there's this kind of thing in my head, and I'm like, what's the future of brands look like? The only future I can kind of see, because it's tricky to kind of look forwards now, because we don't know if there's a new ChatGPT next week. The future I see is brands that have community focus, and brands that focus on realness, rawness are the ones that are going to end up shining through in the long term. So yeah, AI ads, that's awesome. I think that's going to be like an awesome hack for like the first few months. So everyone should jump on it and go crazy. But then my intuition goes, hey, it's probably going to flip the other way. And it's the brands who go, hey, no, the ones that are raw, that are live content, who the founder jumps on a live, the founder jumps there and you can't fake it. It feels completely real. I think people are going to get completely overwhelmed by a lot of all this AI stuff too in the future.
Yeah, and I can't help but feeling like it comes back to the concept of earned media. So if you've earned the trust and proven that you're supposed to getting virility or traction and engagement, then the AI, TikTok and Meta ad content creation is going to pull the stuff that's getting virility and engagement and use those for ad sets. So it's even more important why you're playing with essentially organic as your first piece. And I also found this really interesting bit of information I'm going to share with you right now, Ty. When I was in the States earlier, I heard Unilever. Unilever are like one of the world's biggest enterprise FMCG brands. They make Gillette and all of the men's shaving stuff, right? Every supermarket pretty much globally would be stocking Unilever products. Now, the downside of an enterprise level brand like that is they don't know who their customer is. They have no D2C. They're all essentially through gated real estate spaces that are supermarkets. And so as a brand, if they want to connect with their customers, well, they don't know who their customers are. So that's a risk for a big brand. And what they've done in the States is they've flicked 50% of their annual marketing budget over to UGC and content from customers and influencers. So they are basically looking for people to create content, organic content, 50% of a budget. Now, you would have to think a company like Unilever would have a ginormous marketing budget. There would be Gillette ads on the sides of buses, on television channels, you name it. They would be spending it on paid media, and they're flicking 50% of that over to earned media. That tells me that even at an enterprise level boardroom, they are looking at the future of marketing and saying we have to shift the way we're doing this, and we have to go back to micro influencers. And I suppose they don't have the opportunity to do EGC, which for my listeners is employee generated content. Think Fate the Label running through the warehouse, doing high kicks and to dances and then packing orders in front of you. Like, that's EGC, and that's really engaging. It's a form of entertainment. People love it. And I think that's so interesting to see.
Yeah. If you can build a team, if you can build a team now, start. If you're just running Facebook ads, I feel like you will be left behind. You need to start looking. If you're not the creator, if you're not the creative type, you need to partner with someone, get someone involved, bring in a new person who's, already going live and just having fun with TikTok or Instagram, and they just do it for fun. That's my advice. Like, you have to get someone involved and teach them about the business later, don't try and get someone who already understands and has the impulse of going viral involved in your business. And I genuinely reckon that's going to be an explosion of traffic in the future.
Can I share with our listeners and you, Ty, two brands I crush on that do this really well, probably three actually. One is Jazz Hand. So you're a guy, so I don't even know if you know Jazz Hand, but she's here on the Goldie, I think, and it's Jazz Handmade is the business. So they're a jewelry brand. But Jazz, my daughter loves Jazz. My daughter's a 14-year-old teenager. My content producer's 21. She adores Jazz. My 30-year-old second content producer constantly talks about Jazz. My 30-year-old 2IC at Shecom is always talking about Jazz. I'm like trying to catch up with the trends, and then I get FOMO when I watch them and think I want to be just like Jazz when I grow up. But what I love about what she does is it's so real. They did this thing where she and a couple of her staff, they do fit checks, they do get ready with me. It's like all the kind of TikTok virility that women love to watch. But they did this thing the other day, and now you and I are like Southeast Queensland people. So this, to me, is probably a pretty boring thing to do. But they did this thing where they went to the pub for lunch on a Friday, like the pub, like your local pub, right? And I go, oh my God, if I went to my local pub on a Friday, I wouldn't do a reel about it. But I couldn't stop watching it. She did all these different angles, and it was the snitty, and it was the chick behind the counter taking the order, and it was them giggling about, do they get a beer or a soft drink because it's lunchtime on a Friday? And it was really engaging, and it's reminded me that we think sometimes we're not interesting enough to be creating content, but sometimes just doing normal stuff but doing it well, where it's like watching a TV show, people adore that stuff. So have you heard
Yeah.
Jazz?
I personally know.
I knew it. Go
Obviously,
ask your wife. I bet
this
she
kind of
knows.
leads into something else. This leads into something else. If you want tips on creating viral content, for starters, go look at brands that are already going viral and just deconstruct them. A lot of the time, I spoke to Sam Despo. I don't know if you know Sam, but he has a viral content kind of agency, whatever. And one of the tips he gave me is just really simple, is just cutting the fluff in your videos. For some reason, we want to really explain out things. Like we feel like we need to kind of show, when you're first starting off, you're like, I've got to film this, and then I've got to add the context, and then I've got to talk about myself, and then I've got to do this. And there's a lot of fluff involved. And he's like, you just got to cut it out. This is one of the biggest tips. And what you want to do is try and make the cuts really quick, okay? Using something like CapCut and making those cuts between things really short, almost jolting. Like
Yeah.
it's one of the best tips for like keeping people engaged. So there's some little tips for you. There's a brand over in the US which I think does all of this extremely well. I encourage everyone to go look at them. They're kind of hidden, all right, but they're extremely viral. They're hidden as marketers, and I know one of the head marketer of their company, and he crushes, all right? So it's called The Coldest. It's a water bottle, like Stanley bottles?
Yeah.
Yeah. So The Coldest is Stanley bottles, but the team understands TikTok, okay? And they understand how to go viral. And one of the coolest things, we can talk about it a little bit later because it's not so relevant in Australia yet, but it's going to be, is they've shifted the entire team towards organic content. They create everything. They've got cameras all around their warehouses, like literal, like as if you're walking into a camera studio. It's actually the entire warehouse is full of cameras. The team dresses up, and they'd play into like characters and stuff like that. The actual packers, so they'll be like wearing a tank top because it's like I don't know, a sexy man wearing the tank top and doing these boxing up like bottles, and all the dudes wearing tank tops, and all the girls are like just having fun, and they're all dolled up, and it's just so clever how they've done it. So they've got even all the team is characters, and you're like, wow, this is sick. And then off the back of all that, now this is going to happen, I think, a shift maybe towards the end of this year. TikTok Live doesn't exist here yet, right? I believe they're the top on TikTok Shop in all of America. They were the top when I spoke to him like a few months ago. They were the very top of all of America. And TikTok Live, what they've done is they've created a party team basically in-house. And what they do is they party at nighttime. They party at nighttime, and they're packing boxes with their machine, and they make like a disco inside the warehouse, and they run games. They've got arcade games. They've bought like claw machines, and they sit inside the warehouse, and they literally, as people are buying and the tickets are coming out, they're like, you've entered. And then they come down, and like you can get entries by buying product. You're buying a cup, right? Like you're buying these expensive cups.
This is
and
Big
it
Brother.
lap it up.
This is like Big Brother has some kind of sexual relationship with like, what's the live shopping at the moment? Like, Gabby and I have done this a bit lately where we'll log on to, is it, it's not RedTube. What's the one in China? The Red Book? Pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's the China version of TikTok, right? And you can sit on there, and there's like 400,000 people watching a chick eat her dinner. Or there's like, 1 million people watching this chick in a shop show you all the fake handbags. And like, we've done it where Gabby's like, I want to see number, 202. And she'll be like, oh, Gabby Saper, here's number 202. And she holds it up, and we're like, stop it. This is like live happening right now.
See,
or like the candy company that picks your candy order on TikTok so you can watch the order being like, this just pops my brain.
Yeah. It is hard to go viral. Like it can be hard to go viral and stand out a little bit in like the TikTok era. Like when so many people are getting better and better at content, I think live is going to be a huge win for personality driven kind of brands. And I think it's going to unlock a whole different realm. So I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I'm super excited about this because Australia doesn't even have it yet. And you've probably got US listeners as well. Cool. Have a look at the coldest and see what the heck they're doing because it's really cool. But if you got Aussie listeners and you see live start hitting, like you need to start building a team around it because this is the stuff we're going to want raw content. We don't want to have too much AI content. You know, we're going to get sick of that. That's my intuition. I think we're going to go to
AI
and the
content.
brands that own that, the brands that own that live space and the rawness and the realness and the funness and including you in it are going to win out. I think in content world.
Yeah, I completely agree. I see quite a lot of people online talking about, like, look what I just generated on AI. And I'm like, not looking, not interested, doesn't look real. I think it's the realness that actually will cut through. I'm with you. So going back to the other two brands that I really love, because I know our listeners. So here's what I know, Ty, and I'm sure this shows up in the female owned entities of your 7,000 odd merchants that use your apps. But women in particular, as founders, we're often reluctant to get in front of the camera. And I like being in front of the camera, but I'm also CEO of a massive company, and it's exhausting sometimes having to be an entertainer and a CEO. And so also plenty of founders are just shy. And so I want to give a couple of examples for our listeners of brands that have still been able to navigate this. And one of them is also here on the Goldie, and it's Lauren from I Love Linen. So they do lots of revenue in bed linen. It's a beautiful brand, but she actually was really clever. This was not just recently. This is years ago. She's an extremely introverted, divine human who is not going to get in front of a camera ever. So she actually went and hired 3 or 4 women in her marketing department, and they are the faces of the brand. So they're the ones that throw the sheets in the air at the Palm Beach home and then giggle and roll around on the bed. And they've become their own, like you're suggesting with the coldest, they've become their own, I suppose, personalities on camera. So you can hire that. If you are like so extreme that the thought of being on camera makes you break out in a rash, there are ways around that. And the third example I want to give right now, which is we're all kind of watching, is Georgie Stevenson with Naked Harvest, also here on the Goldie. Georgie's just had a second baby, and it was a high risk pregnancy, and baby arrived early. And so she's taking some time out of the brand. So the brand needs to continue to grow on organic social, but without Georgie at the helm. And so I'll be so interested to watch how they segue out of this. I think it probably is a lot more UGC and EGC.
Can I just remove a little bit of the fear from creating content? To me, I don't think it's talked about, but context like matters in your videos. What I mean by that is giving the right context for each of your videos. So not going too far out of your brand and your products, okay? And it's trying to create virality, trying to manufacture 10,000, a million views because of your fancy video. That can be daunting. But having 100 people who are dedicated, who actually are genuinely interested in what you're having to say and your product solving or whatever. Like having 100 people who genuinely want to watch you is way more powerful than having 10,000 who don't give a rip, but you look funny on like you don't have to make a fool of yourself. You know what I mean? It's better to have 1,000 loyal fans than it is to have 100,000 viral video. That's just my belief. And that is one of the things I think brands who do it well do is they don't care about the masses. They care more about their intended audience and building that community. That's the earned media thing. So the thing about TikTok and Instagram is to build community and to build earned media is you just have to keep turning up. The algorithm will often just serve the same people who've already enjoyed your content. So if you're creating, like, let's just say I'm trying to think of, women's brands now. Like if you are, you've got like a skincare brand and you're starting to create content about fishing, like what the heck? And like, but your fishing content, because you go fishing with your, on the weekend, this is a super random extreme, but you go fishing on the weekend and you get 1 million views, but it has nothing to do with your skincare brand. Like you might be able to show that to everyone that you got 1 million views, but it has zero relevance. And your next video is going to be ruined. Like your algorithm is going to be royally stuffed. It's going to be so confused. It's like you went viral for fishing. You didn't go viral for skin. Or like what I would do is I'd go, hey, what are the pillars, the core pillars of like that sit behind, I guess, the benefits of our products. So maybe it's wellness. Maybe it's looking after yourself food wise or exercise. Like they're kind of in the same realm, or longevity and skincare, and making content around that. It doesn't have to be about your exact product, but the context really matters. And as I said before, I can't say it enough, like 1,000 loyal fans is so much better than 10,000 people who just watch you because you're a clown. You know what I mean?
Well, I actually just had this happen the other day. So it's actually perfect timing. So we've
There we
just
go.
like what are we, 3 weeks into TikTok for Lisa Jones. And for any of our listeners, go check me out. I think it's Lisa Jones _co, which is the same as Insta. And we've been doing, I suppose, a combination of a bit of education, a bit of entertainment, some live stuff. And I do have 7 content pillars. And one of them is that I'm a mad foodie, right? And so we're like, and I also like founder fueled afternoons with sugar. So like we're creating Sweet Tooth Diaries where Lisa goes off and looks for the greatest sweet tooth hits for her founder because that's how I survive my life. Anyway, I do this video about this random Venezuelan surf food truck around the corner from our office and it's fucking delicious. And we're there and my content producer's with me. So I do this. Oh my God, I literally just stumbled across. How good is it? We show it. I talk about what it is. We interview the chick in the truck. Tell us what this is. I've never heard of it before. It's arepa. Like, what is an arepa, right? Anyway, it's gone viral. I've got like 18,000 views. I've got like 1,000 shares, 1,000 saves. And then all the other stuff that is, a little bit more funny or a little bit more in the office, it's got like 200 views. So I'm with you. I'm not going to give up on that though, because it is actually one of my content pillars. And I think that opens a whole other conversation, which is as a founder, if we have our own founder content that's different to our brand content, does our founder content go beyond the brand so that when we sell the brand, we actually do have a founder brand because that's valuable. And that's what I'm trying to build. So it's a slightly different play again.
My intuition says
Did I
still
fuck up,
do
Ty?
these things. No, 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 no. I don't think you did. But what I would say is think of your whole life. If you're going to be a founder and you're going to put 100% of your life on that, there might be some things you hide, like family or whatever, but remove those and you go back on, okay, so like I'm going to put my whole life out there as much as I can, except for these few things that are hidden away. And what you want to do is like kind of percentage out, like segment out like your whole life. So you going and getting your food from a food truck is probably like, it's 5-15% of the time. It's not 100% of who you are. You know what I mean? You got to bring the whole Lisa to the world.
10 pillars, 10 posts. Stick to one post every 10 is food truck.
Yeah. You segment it up. So like you've got one food truck post that'll probably go viral and it will bring in like eventually those founders, the founders, and it's also going to show the personality behind you and it'll have people talking about you. So that's another thing. It will have people talking about you, but to me, it's like, that's a really wide awareness kind of video. I think of it like ads back in the day when I was running ads. Like this is an awareness campaign. It's not really effective to convert, but it's an awareness campaign. And then you go down the funnel. It's like, okay, so what I do is I retarget that awareness with something that's a bit more educational. And it's kind of like top of funnel, middle of funnel. It's how we used to think about Facebook ads, which doesn't really work anymore, by the way, if people are still doing that. But top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, you can kind of think like that with content generation as well.
So I want to talk now a little bit more about other e-com trends. So one of the great things about having you on the potty today is that you're definitely an e-com expert. You've come from the ads land and now you're over in a space of conversion rate optimization. And it really, your apps are about increasing revenue for brands, let's be honest. So I want to know, I know a lot of your clients are global, certainly the USA and Australia, but what other e-commerce trends are you seeing right now in 2025 that we should be talking about?
Yeah, well, you're setting me up to just talk about my own things.
Well, not
Tip my own
necessarily,
horn.
although of course I love your app, but in general, let me set the context a little more so it doesn't sound like I'm setting Ty up to talk about his own apps because I'm not a self-promoter. I am such a mad fan of Meta is so fucking not sexy anymore, but what is sexy is email marketing and CRO. Like how many brands truck ton of money at driving traffic to a website that isn't optimized and that doesn't look for every single pair of eyes on the site converting, even if you just doubled your conversion rate, your revenues just double. Like it's incredible and it's such an under-sexy tool. So I think CRO is super sexy. So I'm just parking that out there. So tell me what else are you seeing in the e-com world at the moment?
I love CRO. It's fun. I wish that was my kind of main gig. Maybe it will be one day. But yeah, I build tools for the masses. So I've got to think CRO, but for thousands and thousands of brands. Conversion rate optimization, if people don't know what that is. What I will start with, so I don't sound like I'm just talking about myself, is I think this strategy is underused and it's one of the most powerful strategies. I was just talking to someone the other day about it who implemented this a few months ago and it exploded their brand. And what it is solution-based bundles. And this is not really any of my my apps and products and what I'm trying to sell you. This is just hopefully a nugget for someone out there. But solution-based bundling, what you do is if you have a product that isn't kind of so sexy on its own, but you've got other products around it, what you can do is you can create a bundle of all your products, if you haven't done this already, and start giving it and give it a name and really think about that name. Like the name really matters because your product by itself is like the name is okay. But when you go to solution-based bundling, you're allowed to kind of bring this other element in of, you can actually kind of pre-sell your product with the name. Okay. So what do I mean by that is, so I used to work for an oil brand that was doing, when I left them, we were doing like $1 million a month. Okay. And some of the big unlocks along the way were doing like 20,000 when I joined them, 30,000. We started growing and everything like that. But one of the biggest unlocks was when we started bundling products together and giving them solution names. So things like we were selling an oil and by itself, it was like peppermint oil. All right. And then we're selling this other oil, which is like, look, I'm not the professional in the oil world, but it was all the different oils, lavender and things like that. But then what we did is I asked them, can we create a bundle and call it the deep sleep bundle or the deep sleep kit? Okay. What we've done is we've taken a single product that had a lot of benefits in it, but instead we've increased the price, we've created a bundle and we can stack all of the benefits of every one of those little oils together. And it means you end up with like a benefit stack of like 20 benefits of this kind of one product, which is like a solution, deep sleep. You can do this with skincare, like a starter kit. Okay. If you're not using if you don't give someone like a starter kit solution, the funny thing is that the guy I was talking about before, his brand, he thought his business was going to die. He literally was on the edge of bankruptcy. They're like, oh, we're having a baby and everything like that. And then he just had this one idea. Let's just bundle it together and change the name. We're going to change the name from just a generic name to, it was as simple as this, the starter kit. It was as simple as that. It's like where to start. Okay. And off the back of that one name change, his brand blew up. He's now doing over $100,000 a month. Okay. And to me, like get testing. When you play with bundles, you can change the names of things and you can run Facebook ads or you can do content that quickly tests this solution to, I guess, your customers' issues and problems. Yeah.
Running an e-commerce business can feel lonely, right? Like no one in your world really understands what you do. And that's why I started Shecom, to create a space where women in e-commerce can connect, grow, and support each other. Whether you're starting or scaling to your biggest months yet, there's a place for you here inside Shecom. Inside of our community, we share strategies, wins, and real talk about what it takes to grow a brand you love. Come on over and join us at Instagram at Shecom_co, because happiness is better when we do it together. Very powerful. And what you've just shared ties into two really important pillars that we teach here at Shecom inside our coaching programs. And one is the transformational sell. So the solution sell. Like the thing is that when you try and sell the features and benefits of a product, and I always break it down to like, this pen has a black ink biro, it's got a silver clip pocket and it's made of plastic. Like nobody gives a shit about the features, right? It's not interesting to me. But if you say this pen will write beautiful letters and will represent you in a way that is upmarket and classy, then suddenly you're selling a solution. And I want to look classy when I send a letter, right? Maybe I don't send letters anymore, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Taking those words, the looking classy set or something like that, and then you bundle in the paper notepad and there's something else and there's something else. You're not just selling that one pen anymore. And then you can stack all those solutions, all those benefits as well.
100%. So listeners, there's two things you can take from this incredible nugget. The first is do a review of all the products on your website and flick your product heading if you need to, or at least a subheading. So I used to teach brands to maybe the heading is a, biro pen, but underneath it is the classy pen that will write beautifully every single time. So you're dealing there with the fact that I just picked up 3 pens on my desk and 2 don't work. I mean, what the fuck? That drives me nuts, right? So this is the pen that's never going to let you down, right? So you can bring that transformation piece into even your subheading, even on a product page. But the second piece that we need to take from this is if you don't already have at least 3 of your best-selling bundles featured on your homepage and even on every product page as an opportunity to grab the bundle instead of the product, you're going to leave money behind and you can double your sales just with bundling. We were talking about it in a program yesterday in one of my calls, and I was like, at a minimum, economy, premium, business, and first class bundles. So you go your your cheapest, your mid, and your high, and then solutionize them with a name. It's just, you have to do it. Like, you can't not have it. Bundles are the everything in ecom these days.
Yeah. And then I'll move forwards to my stuff now. So
Tell
that's a
us.
nugget outside. Okay, so I think the brands that crush long term are the ones who have an epic marketing calendar and a marketing team. And this is something I learned after at Facebook Ad World. I had a marketing team that I work with, and they create this marketing calendar. I'm like, what the heck? I don't care about marketing calendars. I just want to make money and sell Facebook ads and do this. Then I realized this is how you build brands long term, is you build offers over time. Okay, so things like free gift offers or a 10% off flash sale today, or like free shipping this week only. These kind of things are the things that you put in your emails. You create stories with your emails. You love emails. People normally say, oh, I'm too scared to send too many emails. And I'm just like, well, I think you're just not good at content. Like, just write better emails. Like, you create better offers and create a marketing calendar that allows you to have things to talk about. Don't just talk about just you and your brand and sell, sell, sell. Go a little bit wider. And the way you can do that is with a marketing calendar. And then I create tools as well that help you do that. So our like Monster Cart is a really good way to increase your average order value using rewards in your cart. Rewards like free gifting, 10% off, credit back, cash back. That's a new one. I'm just giving a plug for my next app. Yeah. So you've got cash back, reward, gifting. And these are things that you can talk about without having to toot your own horn, as you're giving things away. Yeah. So that's my next thing. And then the last piece of the puzzle is, I believe the future of everything in e-commerce is community driven. Community, community, community. So off the back of your brand, you need to think long term and trying to figure out how to build community.
I would never publicly shame another brand or a woman. That's just not in my style. But I will say one thing. I wear a lot of clothes from a particular brand, and I reckon I'm probably at around about somewhere between 20 and 30 orders over the last, let's call it 7 or 8 years from this brand. And do you know how many loyalty emails I've received from this brand? Not a single one. Do you know how many acknowledgements of me as some kind of advocate customer I've had? Not a one. And do you know how easy this is to do? And I even talk about this on stage. I'm like, imagine me right now, listeners. I've just picked my phone up. I've recorded a video. Something like this. Hello, beautiful. I just wanted to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart as the founder. Your orders mean so much to me and the team as we bring our dreams to life and continue to grow the legacy of what this brand stands for. I want you to know that you wearing my clothes is everything. Now, that took me 30 seconds to record, and it would take about 2 minutes for someone to do a segmented send to anyone who's purchased more than 5 times from her brand. And yet it's not done. And I don't understand. Yeah. Is it because they're too busy or distracted? But acknowledging lifetime value and having really clever things to get more money off me, because I am a sucker for an upsell or a, hey, you're $8 off free shipping. I'm like, well, fuck, I'll spend another $100 to not pay shipping. Like, play with me and get more money from me for sure, but acknowledge me. And I feel like that is the most. Take it, listeners, please, today. When was the last time you segmented in your email, did a video and sent it to them? You can do a plain text email with a video link that is from the founder. It is Lisa here. I just wanted to send you this little note today to say I'm thinking of you. And I would read that straight away. I would be like, holy shit, she's emailed me. It takes 6 minutes to send.
Yeah. I've seen some success as well off the back of like a thank you page. So Shopify has a thank you page. When you place an order, there's a thank you page, and you not many people know this, but you can edit the content of that. There's apps out there, I don't really know, but I've found some that do that and allow you to post like a video or something like that. And it takes nothing to have a video on that thank you page that creates I think, exactly what you just said. You could do the same thing. We did that with that oil brand as well. And that's how we linked people to our community. All right. So we started building this Facebook group community that absolutely exploded and became the heart of the entire company, this Facebook group community. But it was through the invite from this thank you page. You know what was funny is because the owner wasn't actually keen on getting in front of the camera, which is like you said before, is they actually have one of the staff who was really good at this kind of thing. And she did that, said, hey, welcome to the family. Welcome to Eco Family. If you want to actually join our Eco Family or join our whatever you want to call your community, just click the link here and we'd love to have you involved in the brand. And that was an explosion, a big unlock when we started building that.
Because let's talk about this for just a second. Like humans want to belong. Like I've really observed this lately. I mean, this is not new. This is human psychology. They want to first know, like, and trust you. And when they do, they want to belong. They want to be part of something. We intrinsically yearn to feel connected to others. And I think most humans these days are isolated and lonely. And we used
Yeah.
to be tribes and we're not anymore. And so here at SheCom as a team, we're a tribe. We're a super strong culture. And I've hired 4 hires this week, and 3 of the hires all used the word to me on the interview when I was like, why SheCom? And they're like, because I'm looking for my home. And that's a cultural fit for work. But I think your customers are looking for the same thing. So build a community where they can connect with each other. And in our land over here, Ty, of women founded brands, we all crush a little on the community of Go-To Skincare. They've done an amazing job as an early entry to the skincare market. And they've been doing it for a long time now, but their Facebook group is so real. And, you know, try and tear a go-to product down in the group and you'll be torn apart by others because they're so territorial and defensive of the brand. And that is a sign of an incredible community when you have advocates that would literally like go on the stake for your brand, right? That's what so many brands are not doing right now.
Yeah, and that leads into our product that I've actually never spoken about this publicly, other
Just
than to you, Lisa,
privately.
and a few other people. Like this is I've placed a big bet on the future of community and realness, rawness. I think we're going to get overwhelmed by a lot of AI kind of world, and I think people will want to connect with other humans eventually. So I've spent considerable amount of money and time and built a team to build a business that basically replaces the idea of Facebook groups. It allows you to hold all of the control. If you guys have a Facebook group right now and a community, one thing you'll notice is that you lose a lot of your reach to the algorithm. I'm trying my hardest to build something. It's not going to be out for a few months. We've got like a landing page for if people want to jump on there and show their interest. Anyway, we're basically creating a new version of Facebook groups that's going to be off the back of Shopify. Okay. So you can plug your brand straight into it. You can gamify, you control your whole brand. You can talk to your customers whenever you want, and you're not going to get lost in the big Facebook sea of algorithms and that are fighting for your attention. And Facebook doesn't own you anymore. So that's one of my big bets. And we're going to launch that hopefully within the next few months, hopefully. Yeah.
And listeners, this is one of the things that Ty shared with me on our first chat. And I pretty much stood up and did virtual high fives in the office because Facebook groups and the algorithm have caused SheCom all kinds of dilemmas and put us in the doo-doo many times over because people will ask questions in the group and then none of us see it because algorithm just doesn't show it to us. It's so painful. And also at the end of the day, Facebook could shut your group down tomorrow and you've got nothing. You don't own it. They own it. And that's dangerous as a brand. So I am next level excited about this, Ty, and I'm 1000% right alongside you in how exciting this is for ecom brands. If it can connect from Shopify into something you own yourself and it's gamified and it allows your community to connect, I would be there in a heartbeat. That's epically exciting. So you heard it here first on the She Talks podcast. And the minute that it's live, I will tell you about it because this is something as brands that we need to be jumping on. And just before we finish the potty today, I know we've talked about Monster Cart, but I also know you have another app called Redeemly. And this interests me too, because here as an ecom expert, I'm always looking for ways that my clients can sell more. And when we had our chat, I really like the idea of Redeemly as well. And it kind of takes another trend we haven't talked about today, which is not just about giving dollar discounts, the 10% off, 15% off your first order, which at the end of the day, it erodes your margin. This is a new way of looking at things. So tell us as brands what we need to know about Redeemly.
I saw a trend a little while ago. Some of the biggest brands in the world, they've got their own developer teams. So they can come up with ideas and test them really quick. And I was like, oh, flip, these guys, what the heck? I've never been able to, how do they do this? They started doing cashback for stuff. I'm like, man, that's really cool. Cashback. I bet you that converts way better than the point systems that are out there. And then I just saw it more and more, just popping up everywhere. And I'm like, there's no apps for this, which is crazy. There is one cashback app, but I did some research in it, and honestly, it cost an absolute fortune. And I was like, okay, all right, there needs to be something here. And then Shopify just released the ability to create credit inside of a customer's account. Okay, so this is the technical thing that they released, which then got my alarm bells going, and I was like, oh, this is something cool. I think I can create something here. So what we did is spend about 6 months and a ton of pulling hair out, and we created a credit back app. Okay. So think cash back, but you're using credit, all right, to a customer's account, and it works seamless. It, like in the checkout, you can see your credit amount that you've earned from shopping on the store in the past. And it works really well with our other apps as well. So Monster Cart is our, like, you sell more in the cart, incentivize, unlock certain things, incentivize people to add more to their cart to unlock 10% back or 20% credit back. Okay. Now, off the back of that, there's a lot of strategies that you can do with this. One, which is really cool, and it's working extremely well, is your pop-ups that ask for emails. Don't give away 15% of your revenue for an email. Instead, give 30% back for someone giving you the email. Okay. And what that does is it's now giving you something to talk about on the other side when someone purchases from you. All right. So the second sale, you've got something to talk about, but it's also incentivizing them to buy that day, because it's like a time thing. You've got to buy today and you get 30% back, which is a really big, like 30% back. That's a huge thing. It's better than 10%, and it converts way better. We've done massive tests, A/B tests on a big mattress company over in the States. They came over from a loyalty app over to a credit-based loyalty system, and it's exploding their sales. It's way better, and it converts people. For some reason, I guess it's just, you can kind of think it through. Like, points kind of confuse people. Real dollars, you don't want to let go of them. And that's what credit feels like. So you want to spend the credit that gets rewarded to you. And that's Redeemly. We're also building out a full loyalty system. So things like tiered rewards, that's going to get released over the next week or two. So like earn gold tier, bronze tier, and you get 20% back or 50% back or whatever. We're close to really kind of building out all the features of a loyalty point system. Give us some time. We're building fast, but it's working extremely well right now. And what I've found is everyone who's come over from points are stoked because their point systems don't make them money. They're just fun. Like it's a bit of fun and fun to talk about, but credit back makes them money. Which is what we want.
Listeners, let me break this down for you in a way that might make sense for us as consumers. Here in Australia, and I can't speak to my beautiful American listeners, I'm sure you have the same versions in the States, but I buy quite a lot of clothes from both Witchery and from Country Road. And both of these companies do exactly what Ty is talking about right now. So the other day, my husband's been into Country Road. He's bought a bunch of stuff. I pick this $70 t-shirt up and I take it to the counter and I go to buy it for me. And they're like, hey, you've got $80 cash back here. Would you like to spend it today? And I'm like, yes, I would, please. And then I'm over at Witchery and they're like, oh, you're a gold member and you have $42 in credit. Would you like to put that towards your purchase today? Yes, I would, please. And you want to know where I go and buy most of my clothes out of Westfield? It's Witchery and Country Road. In fact, one of my team and I joke, you only buy clothes and presents at Country Road because you get the cash back. It's a thing. Bring it into your brands. And this is what I'm in love with about Redeemly too. When you were telling me the other day, I was like, stop it. It means that we don't need to be an enterprise level fashion label to be able to have a cashback like this inside of our own small ecom brands. Very clever, Ty.
Yeah, credit back, it sells points confused. That's what I see it. It's like, who wants to know they got 10,000 points? It doesn't, if you get given, and the other cool thing is it's like programmable money, because you can actually make it disappear if you wanted to. So you can go, hey, it's
dates on it too. It disappears on a
that's
search.
That's it. You're like, your $10 is about to disappear. Do you want to keep your 10? Do you want to send it?
You get a perk email saying you've got a $10 credit, and I go, great, I'll go to factory and my daughter can get a new pair of jeans. And they're like, oh, that expired 4 days ago. And I'm like, no, like it's up to you what you do with it. But I bought the jeans anyway, of course. Clever retailing.
100%. But yeah, credit sells. And I think it's just a trend that's going to keep exploding. Don't give away 10% for an email. Instead, buy a future purchase. That's how I think about it. So you're buying the second. And we all know, like, if you can get someone to buy from you 3 times, if you can get someone to buy from you for 3 times, they're basically a sold customer for life. And that's the way I like to think about it. Think about sale 2, think about sale 3, and that's how you explode your brand.
I couldn't agree more. Ty, that's our time on the potty today, and I have loved every minute of these chats with you. I feel like these are the conversations we don't have enough, the cold face of what's happening in e-commerce right now. And most importantly, like the majority of the listeners here on the potty are female founders with e-com brands, and they just want to know, like, give me a gold nugget today of how I can grow my brand and get more revenue out of my existing traffic. And that's pretty much exactly what today's potty was about. So it was a pleasure to have you. Thank you for being my first male guest.
Yes, I'm so honored. Honestly, I am. Thank you.
We will see you around, Ty.
Can I give a URL for the sign up for?
100.
So I'll give you the name. You heard it here first. I think I've got the trademark. Don't go trademarking anyone. It's going to be called In Club. Okay.
In
So
club.
In Club. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
IN
going to be called In
club.
Club.
I love it.
IN Club. And so if you want to express your interest in that, so inclub.vip is where you have to go. Inclub.vip. And Redeemly, it's in the App Store. It's doing really well. You can basically jump on there and you'll end up with me or the dev who's building it, because we want to stay as close as possible to people who are building out, who are using this right now, because we just want to stay as close as we can to customers. And then Monstercart, go find that. It explodes. I've got a completely dedicated team all around the world that work on that. And that's a monster, that one. It's going to increase your revenue for sure.
I love it. So listeners, if you enjoyed today's chat, I want you to slide into my DMs. Head over to Instagram, LisaJones_co, and tell me one thing today that you loved about this podcast episode. And don't forget to hit follow so that we can notify you when the next episode drops. Thanks, Ty. Have a great week.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of She Talks. I hope today's conversation sparked ideas, gave you strategies you can put into action, and reminded you that you're never alone on this journey. If you loved this episode, head over to shecom.co for today's show notes, exclusive freebies, and special offers from our sponsors. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you never miss a future episode. Until next time, keep showing up, keep building, and most importantly, keep talking.